Hey guys, welcome back to New World Carpentry Solutions, and in this video we're going to continue where we left off the other day, where I told you guys I had to make the moldings to go around the mutton bars for the divided light for the glass panels. I actually made up a bunch of strips. I made a few extra ones. These are fairly rough, so we're going to go through the process of cutting them to length like these, and then I'm going to show you guys how to make custom little sanding boards that you guys can use to sand small profiles like this. Follow along in the video and I'll show you guys how we did it. Alright guys, over here on the miter saw, when I milled all the moldings, the profiles for the mutton bar after cutting the rabbet and the relief for the glass, it was a little bit shorter than it was wide, so the moldings are actually a little bit narrower in this dimension and longer in this dimension. So if I cut the miters with the moldings in the wrong orientation, it won't line up. So what I did was, after milling each one, I made sure I marked the back side that I want up against the fence. So all I have to do is make sure that I keep that, or find that side and make sure I keep it up against the fence as I start this process. I have a stop block set up right now. This is actually slightly oversized. I just want to get all these milled down to the smaller pieces so I can go over to getting them all sanded. Then I'll get them fine-tuned to make sure they all fit. But the process is fairly simple. I swing the miter saw over to 45 in one direction. Couldn't see for a second, but after you make your first cut, the miter is going in this direction. Slide up against your fence, butt it to your stop block, swing your fence back over in the other direction. Swing your saw back over in the other direction. I'm gonna start batching this process out. I'm not gonna stop it each time, but that's gonna be what we're gonna rinse and repeat till we get a bunch of pieces cut. Alright, and as you guys can see, I'm batched out with a couple different pieces. I'm not sure I'm gonna get out of one stick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You get 9 pieces out of every 8-foot stick, because these are just over 10 inches. Yeah, that works out. Yeah, these are just over 10 inches. So what we're gonna do now though, is we're gonna set up so we can start sanding them over on the workbench, and then I'm gonna keep batching out these so I have enough of them. Because what we end up with right off the router table, because these moldings were so small, as they ran past the router, because I don't have a feather board set up for, getting moldings this small, it kind of bounced a little bit off the router. So even with me applying pressure to it, the cut isn't perfect. So I'm going to actually smooth that out. I'm going to show you guys how we take care of that. Let's go over to the workbench. Alright, over here on the workbench, I already have one of these set up. This is at 120. That's what I'm starting all my sanding at. So the process is pretty simple. All you do is take the beveled or the chamfered edge and rest it directly up against your sandpaper. So that way you know you're going to be following that same angle. You don't want to change it throughout your sanding process. And then you just want to work it back and forth. And because you're sanding up against a flat surface, unlike if you did it by hand, your fingers, your hand, and everything else, that has waves and contours to it. So it'd be a lot harder to get a perfectly flat surface by doing so. They do have those foam pads that you can add to your sander, like on the Surf Prep sander. I think Festival does have an attachment added to their standard sheet sander, but for right now, this process is going to make these small parts a lot easier to get done. But I'm going to show you guys how we make them. This one I've already cut the paper to the proper size. This one is 220. We have 120, 180, and then 220. These don't really need to be cut to the exact same size as the block, but it doesn't hurt. A razor blade and scoring it will probably be the best way to do it, but again, I'm probably going to throw these in my workbench and pull them out occasionally, or these guys might become my new favorite tool. We'll see. I don't know, a lot of guys will do the same similar process for setting up flattening stones for their chisels and everything else, but they'll use like a piece of glass or something that you know is going to stay flat, and then you just glue your sandpaper directly to it, and it works just the same as a diamond stone. So we have, let me write on these before I spray them. The marker I just had is, don't know. So this one is going to be 180. This one is going to be 220. And for the glue, I'm just using some Gorilla Glue spray adhesive. It kind of works just like regular contact cement. You spray both sides of your material. You let it sit for probably about a minute, let it get tacky, and then you just press to fit. You do want to try to make sure when you apply it, you want to keep everything smooth. Try not to have any ripples or anything else on your surface. And if I wanted to, I could, put 220, 180 on the back. But for right now, because I'm going through these 3 grits, it'd be easier to have the 3 grits in order set up directly on the workbench. But if I wanted to add, 320, maybe 80 on the back of the 120, maybe 60 on the back of one of these or something, I could do so. And then when the sandpaper wears out, you just toss the block and make another one. So I'll come back to you guys after this tacks up a little bit. Then we're going to apply them, clamp them to the workbench, and I'm going to show you guys how you work your way through the grits. All right, so it's been about a minute, and the glue is now tacked up. All you do is you flip it over. Start on one side. Press, 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 because you want this to go on flat. And the goal of this is to also be using something flat, whether it be a block of wood, piece of plywood, glass. In this case, a scrap piece of clear 1x6 is flat enough for me to flatten these moldings. But for chisels, knives, etc., you might want to go with something that is dead flat. But for this process, these are more than good enough. And they definitely beat the struggle of actually hand sanding all of these pieces. Don't want that. So now that we have them glued up, with these bench dogs that I got off of Amazon, we're going to drop a bench dog in here, put the board up to it. I'm just going to place this one over here. This one's slightly off the camera, but you guys get the gist of it. And then from the sanding process, let's say we're starting right here at 120. You want your board to be resting at that chamfered angle. And then give it a few strokes. If you go at an angle to the paper but still running straight with the grain, you're going to get a nice clean sand. And in this case, these are face clamps, so the clamps are slightly in the way. These ones won't have that issue. I only have 2 of these inline clamps for right now. but I can go right from one piece of paper and then hop right to the next. And then we're going to work our way all the way up through the grits, up to 220. And then I can apply finish to these moldings, get them fine-tuned to make sure they all fit. And we can install the glass. So I'll see you guys once we get to that point of the build. And yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, let me know down in the comments. Leave me a like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.